Dana Digital Tutorials. Today I'm going to show you how to use actions, whether you've purchased them or whether you want to create your own to speed up your workflow process. They're very convenient and they will make you enjoy what you're doing more when you take the repetitiveness out of some of the things that you do. So the first thing you're going to want to do if you've purchased actions is you're going to want to load them. You'll click these three little dots here and you'll go to load actions. You'll select the action that you just purchased or the group of actions and you'll hit open. Once you've done that, your actions are in here and ready to use. These are actions that I've created and I'm going to expand them so you can kind of see the different ones and how many I've done. And they make my workflow that I don't enjoy go super fast so that I can enjoy the creation process. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to enlarge this cow just a little bit. And I'm going to start with some of these actions over here. I've downloaded this image off the internet with one of my AI generators. It is 1024 by 1024. My action that I created will be specific to that size, and if I want to work with a different size, I would have to create a different action. So this is not a white seamless background, so I wouldn't use this. But I can come here to this seamless thin 1250, and I called it that because I created several variations and I decided that this one I liked. It does the generation at the smaller size so that I have the highest quality, then it bumps it to the 1250. I do have videos on how to create a seamless wrap, but you can use most of the steps in that to create an action. And let me show you what happens when I push play. So I push play, it's automatically swapped the sides for me, cropped just a little bit of the image in case there were some black edges or some fuzzy edges, and it's created an action. I've entered a stop in here, which I'll show you how to do, and the reason I've done that doesn't really matter what it says. I typed a bunch of little letters just to have it there. If I were to sell this action, I would probably type instructions there. So I can hit stop or I could hit continue. So in this case, I really like this background that it created, the way it did the seamless, but I'm going to show you what happens when you hit stop. So if you hit stop, then you can come over here to your properties panel and you can look at the different options. And I can see that maybe I like this one a little bit better. So I'll click that and then I'll come down to play. You'll see it's not up here at the top. It's down here where it left off. So then I can push play and it's automatically there. So I really like that, and I do have my actions in order of the way I would typically work, so that I can just kind of go step down each one. So at this point, my action is, or my wrap is seamless, and it's ready to go into your favorite upscaler, whether that's Photoshop and you do it right here, or you can save it and then put it into Upscale or Gigapixel or whatever one you use. You'll notice that over here it's already flattened, and that was part of my action because I know that I am only using this action on flattened, newly downloaded images. So it's perfect. I can just hit save and it's ready. So I've already taken an image or a variation of this image because the edges are different, and I've put it into my favorite upscaler. So here is the design. I actually like this one a little bit better if I were going to move the cow to the left, because then the red would move over to the right, which is why I liked that generation. So here is my cow, and now I'm ready to go to my next step. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click check match, and what that does is it swaps them, it flattens it, and it allows me to see if there's anything I need to adjust on my match. But I'm pretty happy with that, and I can delete that layer. So that's how fast that is for me to check. If I wanted to move the cow to the side so that maybe I could put some text, or I don't like the way he's framed, I could come over here and I could click play, and it has created two copies. It has adjusted their location, and let me show you. I'm going to hit Command T and go out, and now I'm able to adjust this cow wherever I want him. So if I want to put him, say, here, you can see the blue line has come over here. If I had picked the other generation, that would remain red. But when it's wrapped around the cup, it doesn't really matter. So I'd hit enter, and that is ready. So I'm probably going to go ahead and copy this and then go ahead and flatten it. Now, you're going to notice that I have setup here. I should have probably put that above these two here. I can just click and drag it, because the setup feature that I've created, you'll see when I push play, it's going to make sure that I have 300 DPI, because even if I did that in my seamless wrap, some of the upscalers will take it back to 72 DPI. So it's fixed that. It is not resized. That was checked off. It has just changed the way the pixels are dispersed when it comes to printing. It has created some guide layouts for me. I like these layouts. My blue lines are the center, and then about where you would see the front of the cup on my image mockups. That gives me a visualization on whether I like, where the placement is, or if I need to create that wrap and the opportunity to adjust it back and forth. So that's probably the first thing I'm going to do when I open it, so I should have it at the top. That makes it a little bit easier for me. Erase background setup for me is really nice. When I showed the video the other day on how to create a bright layer behind so that you could see your erasing job, well, I created an action for that. And instead of using the paint bucket to fill an empty layer, I used over here in the adjustments panel the solid color. And let me show you why I did that. So let's push play. So I had it create a duplicate layer of what was down here. I had it create it right here. And I also had it create an extra one so that if I need to fade it out to see where I'm painting on my mask, it's already there and ready to go. When I'm done, I'll delete them. I don't need them anymore. But if this cow had bright pink in it, because my action made it bright pink, I would be able to, with the adjustments layer, click and quickly change the color and just keep moving. If I want to hide the guides, I can hit Command or Control and the colon, and I can hide and show them and get rid of them. If you want to get rid of them, you would have to come up to View, Guides, and you would have to clear the guides. So, but I like them there, and I like to just hide them. And the other thing, let's see what else it's done for me. Oh, that's right. It also, the setup unlocked my layer as well. So those were just kind of important setups for me. And now I'm ready to paint. So I should have recorded in my action, which I can go back and fix. So if I come back up here to where I have the working layer, let me expand this so you can kind of see. It says select layer, working layer. I know right here I could go ahead and record, and I could tell it to put a mask on that. So now I stop, it's added right here. If I were to record to add a step up here at the top, then it's going to put it at the bottom, but you can drag these layers back and forth. You can change them to the order that you want. You just have to know that if you have select these backgrounds or work on a current layer, it might adjust the way it works. So you're going to want to go back, which I've just done, and you're going to want to play it to make sure that it's okay. You're going to see it created a layer mask on this duplicate, which is okay. I don't mind that because I created the layer mask and then I duplicated. So it duplicated that layer with the layer mask. So I'm going to keep going here. I have a save as transparent. I have a save as flatten. Those two are just automated options when I'm completely done with my image that will save a copy of the PSD, which you don't typically need to keep. I just, as a photographer, keep it. And then it will save a PNG. It will flatten everything, save a PNG, because that's how you get the smallest PNG possible, into a folder that I have named Post Today. It saves the PSD over into a folder that's called PSD Backups. I just leave that in case I need it. And then the PNG is in my Post Today. And then I'm able to quickly, no matter whether I'm working on multiple categories, go into my post today to see what I haven't posted. And once I've posted it, then I put it into the folders where it's categorized for safekeeping. So that just makes things go really easy. I also have some great little word text here where I can click and I can push play. It's going to automatically put my text where in the center, because that is this action, and use the font that I have in the name. So I can easily, quickly change this to whatever I want. And it just makes creating text a little faster. We'll actually create one for that. So down here, I have a solid color overlay. You can just kind of see the different things that I have. This increase layer will just increase the current layer. It probably won't work on text, but it will increase the current layer. So if I click play, oh, see, it did work. Because this is a text layer, it changed the font size. That's just a quick way to do it, but I have that because I know that I can increase a layer or an image by 10% without losing quality. If I want to go more than that, I'm going to go up and use Neuro Filters or another upscaler. The difference between this layer and this layer here is that this will just put a solid color over it. So if I push play, you'll notice though that it doesn't color the outline. It only colors the text. So if you have effects on your text, it's only going to color the actual text or an image. But if I didn't want a solid color, I actually have another one here called Colorize. And you're not going to really see the difference because it's white, so it's color layer. It's the same thing as the solid, except it just changed the layer size. I find that just makes it go really fast. Pattern Maker, I'm going to do a whole tutorial on that. But when I'm done with this, it's ready to go and it's ready to save. So I would just come back up here, and depending on whether it's a transparent background or not, I would pick one of those. So how do you create an action? Well, that's pretty simple. The first thing you're going to want to do is, if you don't have any actions, you are just going to be given this default action here. This is what comes with Photoshop. So I don't like to save my actions in there. So the first thing I would do is I would create a folder, and I'll just name this tutorial, but I recommend you kind of group your actions together. And maybe in the beginning they're all in one spot, but as you get more and more, you'll want to create folders and drag them, which you can do. So now we want to create a text action. So let me delete all this other stuff, and we are going to, I'm just going to show my cow, and I'm going to flatten and unlock. So, and see, it calls it layers, so we'll just call it background, so that any of my images that go and select the black background doesn't cause any problems. So if we come now, we have our folder, and we come and we hit this plus button, we'll be able to create an action. And we'll just call this text slanted. And then we're just going to do what we would do to create text slanted. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to type, this is my, ooh, looky there. So this is my text. And I'm going to change the font if I want to change the font. I'm going to do whatever I want, and then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to slant it. So we'll just do rise for fun, and we'll leave it the way it is. If I know that's too small, I hit enter to confirm that my text layer is fine, or you could hit the check at the top, and then I'm going to drag it. I'm going to make it as big as I want. If I I'm probably going to want to outline. Typically, I will put an outline in here. So I'm going to go an outline. It's a stroke, and I'm going to adjust it the way I think I'm most often going to use it. And then I'm going to hit OK. And the reason I record this in my action is because after I press my action, if I don't want it, I can just hide it. So it's already there. What if you want to put a stop into an action? So you're going to have to come up here to these three little bars and insert stop. And you can type a message here, but if you do not click allow continue, then they're going to be forced to stop. So you can type whatever you want. I asked to stop, and then you can hit OK. And that's going to put a stop in here. I'm not typically going to do that on text, because if I do, then what's going to end up happening is that it is going to give me a stop I don't need. So what if you want to do undo? Well, if I undo, if you watch, it's recording here, you can see it did not undo. It did down here, but that is not what we wanted. So if we click in the history panel, the previous layer, you'll notice that it's not calling it what that layer is. It's just saying pick the previous state layer. It will record that for you. So if you say want to save as your PNG, but you want to undo the flatten, you can record that undo by clicking on your history panel. I do recommend that you save your actions. You can do that very similarly. Let me hit stop. And I'm going to get rid of the stop here. And I'm going to show you how to save in a minute. But let me delete this and let me run this for you. So now if I run this, it has done my text the way I had it do it before. And because I recorded to turn off the stroke, it turned it off. If I don't want to record that stroke, then what I would do is I would come over here and I would find where it recorded it and I would delete it. So I'm sure that it's probably this one, but I would figure it out and I would delete it. So once you've created your actions, or every time you spend time to create actions and you've tested them and they're working, I would recommend you go to these three little lines and you hit save actions. It will only save the ones you've selected, so make sure that you come in here and you select the ones that you want and then save it in a backups folder wherever you want it. But as you create these actions, you're going to find that your workflow goes faster too. And you don't have to do all the boring, repetitive stuff. So I hope this video helps you. This is Dana with Dana Digital Tutorials. Have a great day.